STEMusic. People gotta know. Call it STEMusic. We gon' make it flow. Call it STEMusic. Call it STEMusic. Call it STEMusic. Everywhere we go. Call it STEMusic. People gotta know. Call it STEMusic. We gon' make it flow. Call it STEMusic. Call it STEMusic. Call it STEMusic.
We call it STEMusic indeed. Welcome to the STEMusic podcast, where we highlight multicultural STEM professionals and the music they love, providing valuable insights to emerging professionals in STEM. Today, we have two special guests on this podcast, and they happen to be my friends. I am so excited to have them on the podcast. They also happen to be my first repeat guest on the STEMusic podcast. You can check out their previous episodes 18 and 20 to learn more about their background. Okay, so they both come from the E in STEM, so engineering. They are both aerospace engineers. I know y'all, STEMusic Nation, they ain't nothing to play with. They're really amazing guests. One guest has a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering from Wichita State University and a master's degree in aerospace engineering from the University of Southern California. And currently, they are working as a stress engineer for Delta Flight Products. The other guest has a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering from Wichita State University as well, and a master's degree in engineering project management from the University of Kansas. They are currently working as a project manager for Burns & McDonnell. STEMusic Nation, please help me welcome my incredibly smart and talented friends, Fernanda Quezada and Lynette Gacheri, back to the STEMusic podcast. Welcome. How are y'all doing?
Pretty. What an introduction. But yeah.
You know, we got to do it right on the STEMusic podcast. I'm like over the moon that y'all are here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Came all the way to Wichita from Atlanta, Kansas City,
Yep.
and we're here. So
Just for you.
Just for you.
me. I
Just for
feel
you.
so special. So I am so excited about this episode because we've never had this before. We've never had guests come back on. Of course, at the time you were on the podcast, it wasn't visual. We weren't, in a podcast studio like this.
Love
It was
this.
just over Zoom, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we were talking about your story. So STEMusic Nation, you're going to hear all about the background of their story and how they got into engineering and STEM and all the things in their episode. So episode 18 for Lynette, episode 20 for Fernanda. Go check them out. Listen, it's so rich. A lot of great stories, a lot of good advice. But today we are catching up with our guests. So what I'd like to do is a career update for both of you. And Lynette, I want to start with you first. I think when we were
Okay.
talking on your episode, you were an automation engineer. And so as I mentioned in your bio, you are now, you went and got an engineering project management master's. And so now you're in project management. So I'm curious of the transition to that, maybe what made you do that and kind of how are things going now?
The transition has been kind of like an upward trajectory, but within the same space, because I do project management for an automation group, so
Okay.
still within the same realm. A lot more engineers to work with now, a lot more considerations on like scope, schedule, budget, that type of thing. So a lot more responsibility, less technical, but you still gotta know enough to be dangerous. But it's been a great transition, and I'll say that. It's been a great transition with the company I work for is an engineering consulting firm. So I had the chance to move from working as an individual contributor on one team and managing an entirely different team and kind of like bringing changes to, make it established and foster it from kind of, mid-level to like an efficiency capacity, just a high performing team. And I'm really proud of, I think, the work that we've been able to do. And any chance I can get to brag on my team, I get to do it. So
Come on, bragging
but
on you.
yeah.
You're the boss. I like this. Okay.
It's been fun. It's been fun
Wow.
for
And
sure.
so roughly how many people are you leading, or like the size of your team?
And where are they?
And where are they? That's true. We're about maybe 35 engineers.
Okay.
And 8 different geographical locations.
Whoa.
So lots of travel. Yeah. California, Phoenix, Denver, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Detroit, Atlanta, and India.
And you're based in Kansas City. That
Right,
is wild.
right. So,
Wow.
Yeah. Good level of cohesion. We have fun and just incredible people. So it's been.
And then it must be the
been
time
fun.
zones and stuff, like trying to figure out how to do all that and then lead different people, probably from definitely from different backgrounds,
Yeah.
Different phases maybe in their careers. So I'm curious, what has been maybe a strong challenge of going from that individual contributor to being now in this leadership role and leading 35 team members across all these different cities, countries, you know. I don't know. I'm thinking to myself like, wow, that seems like a drastic change. And I know it probably happened gradually. Of course, you said you're kind of within the same automation space, so you probably knew some of these people, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like, what was something you maybe had to kind of a skill set you had to develop to take that challenge on?
I think there's some technical skills, but beyond that, there's a lot of like maybe tacit knowledge and like non-technical, more personal or like just relationship, maybe management type skills, you know, understanding different personalities, and letting people lead from where they are and just kind of creating the opportunity. So I'm very much like a champion. I don't feel like I lead the team by any means. It's just like a very collective, let's sit in the group and, you know, coordinate and facilitate. And what's your strength? Let's do that. What's your strength? Let's do that. And creating those opportunities and just kind of like empowering, you know, people around us. We say, let's make each other successful, I think, at Burns and Mac. And that really shapes their culture because it's not a competition. It's like out of the three of us, who does what the best? So this is, and we have this to do. So let's figure out how to do it, you know, and giving that kind of energy. So I think the biggest side has been non-technical when it comes to project management. You know how to ask, know how to provide feedback, know how to muster up the courage to make a change when a change needs to happen, because that's something like we can easily get complacent or be like, push it off, it's not my problem. But just being able to have tough conversations sometimes, but also being able to celebrate right after.
This is so good. Like like you're saying everything that I kind of want to touch on, and certain things that you've done within the volunteer work that you've been doing that we're going to talk about in a little bit, Fernanda. But I love everything you're saying, because when I think of leadership, we had the CEO of the Kansas Leadership Center on the podcast, and a lot of the things that you're saying, we were talking about that on her episode of just trying to kind of be a servant to the team versus being like, I'm the leader, you follow what I say. No. And then I love the part about, I kind of say it in another way, but like having the people in the right seat on the right bus.
Yes.
And so just making sure that, you know, it also, y'all, STEMusic Nation, we all went to college together at Wichita State. So I'm like, this was you back then. Like, no, who's good at this? Wait, you're really not good at that. Stop cooking, put it down. Like you should do something else.
Call you out. Yeah.
Right? Like I think that's a powerful thing, because when people are in a position that they feel like they're good at, you know, and they know what they're doing, or they feel encouraged and empowered, I think that's when the results are the best and everybody can work together. So, well, that's a nice little catch up and update on your career and the position change. So I'm coming over to you, Fernanda. Last time we talked, and by the way, y'all, this was 2021 that y'all were both on the podcast. It was March of 2021 when your episodes came out. So it's crazy. We're now in 2025.
Different time.
Yeah. Insane. So at the time you were doing mechanical design engineering for Delta, and now you are a stress engineer. And so STEMusic Nation, y'all know we're not gonna go down the whole path, but I was a design engineer at Spirit Aerosystems, so I definitely understand a little bit of that world, but I did not do stress. So what inspired the change, one, and then you know, what are you now doing in that role?
Yeah. So I think that was my ultimate goal. Like I got my master's in aerospace engineering, but focused on structures, because I ultimately wanted to do the structure side of things. And my manager at the time, even since I was a co-op, like he knew about it. So
that desire started in
I think it started
in college. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just sorry, we got to put a little pin here.
Yeah.
I think we're already getting to the advice part, which I love. And that's basically saying like, you're doing what you want to do right now, but you kind of had to go on a journey and take some positions and take a role that maybe you didn't hate but you were like, this is not exactly what I want to do, but I know it's going to lead me. So that's a good lesson.
Advice I got from one of my professors in grad school.
Okay.
Like, just say yes to whatever opportunity comes your way, and then you'll eventually, if it's meant to be, you'll eventually find your way to where you want.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, to end at. So yeah, through COVID, our stress team lost a bunch of people. So there was an opportunity to go in and support the team at the time.
And so on that day-to-day, like working as a stress engineer, for as much as you can tell, because I know sometimes in the STEM world, in the engineering space, We can't share everything. But what does that look like? You know, what are some of the things that you're doing within your scope or your role?
Yeah. So it looks a lot like I'm at my desk because most of the work is on a computer. There's
Sure.
some collaboration that's done with the design engineer, sometimes supporting the shop or manufacturing. There's some meetings I get to participate where all parties involved in the project get together to make sure we're all on the same page, make sure what are the risks, what's taking priority. So I didn't get to do that as a mechanical design engineer.
Okay.
Like our managers would go do that.
Ah.
But yeah, and my day-to-day, besides what I do when I'm at my desk, it's a lot of either writing reports or reviewing reports, reviewing a lot of the engineering drawings that come to us to do the structures, stress
Analysis on it, making
analysis
sure that
on
it's
it.
all. Look, I remember them days.
Yeah.
You could not release a drawing without going through a stress engineer, and we're grateful for that, right? Because we want
Yeah.
stuff to be safe and we want
Yeah.
stuff to be done right. And yeah, I do remember the days of like, okay, here's my little pretty design. Then you take it over and they're like, why is it this thick? What's the thickness of this clip right here? We need this to be thicker, or we need this to be thinner, or you cut out a little too much material. That's not going to be strong enough. We need, so yeah,
Yeah,
all the different
yeah.
things that notes, flag notes, and different things
Oh
that
yeah,
have to go.
oh yeah, yeah. These
I
flag
love
notes missing, or you're calling out the wrong
Yeah.
spec. So it's a lot of back and forth, and I really enjoy working with the design engineers. I was one of them at the time,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's a great relationship. I really enjoy.
And are they mostly
work.
the same, like the design engineers that you're working with today?
Now they are some of the most senior engineers. There's still a couple of more senior guys, but yeah, when I started, they were a couple of years older or had a couple of years of experience on me, but now they are like the go-to.
Yeah.
And the newer people, it's young, like late 20s now. So it's a young crew. Everyone's pretty good at what they do. And
you kind of have that established relationship
Yeah.
already, which I think
yeah, that's true.
I think that's something I would love to hear from both of you all. And you touched on it a little bit, Lynette, and I was thinking about that from you going from design to stress, Fernanda, of the relationships. And you're kind of like highlighting that now. And then Lynette, you were talking about now leading, right? You're going from a peer to a leader. I hear a lot, just articles online or things on social media or LinkedIn. You might be scrolling on LinkedIn and you just see these articles of the quote unquote soft skills. And some people don't like that word, soft skills. But what I'm referring to is like being able to have those conversations, the tough conversations, being able to build the relationships. And I guess for young professionals out there, maybe who just started in their professional STEM career, and specifically in STEM, right? Because it's technical heavy at first. It's like, I'm focused on the numbers. I'm focused on, the technical side of this thing. Let me do my thing, talk, conversation. What do you mean? Like meetings? Like, what do you mean? So I think as I'm thinking about STEM Music Nation, for those who are young professionals or even starting to become mid-career professionals, stressing the importance of building relationships, but maybe how do you do that? Because I think sometimes, I know y'all know me, we're all kind of social. We just happen to be like the social engineers. Okay. That could be a whole nother podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think I'm interested to hear both of your perspectives on how maybe professionals in the STEM industry could go about doing that, building relationships, having tough conversations, and really developing the skill set of the soft skills while working as a technical professional. Because I think that's something that people struggle with. And if you don't know what you don't know, or you've never navigated that, now you're all of a sudden in the industry, you're 2 years in, let's say, and you're like, maybe I want to move up, maybe I want to do something different in my career, but I'm not sure how to go about that. So whoever wants to take a stab at that first.
Sure. I guess the word that comes to mind really is, it depends it depends maybe on your role within the team, but an easy word that comes for me is something like inclusivity. That's not to say you expect like a social aspect from everyone, but even if you're quiet, I can come sit over here, or I can come sit by you. And we can be quiet, but we can work together, and then in some extent we'll just meet each other kind of where we're at and grow together. And that looks different for each interaction with each, different individual, but just being inclusive and meeting people where they're at, because engineers are known, yes, to be quiet, stereotypically, or lack of communication. And that's okay. I feel like that's okay. It's just like, you can sit there and I'll sit here and we'll work together and I'll say hi or, solicit interest. It doesn't have to be anything grand or major or just meeting people where they're at. I think something else that comes to mind is encouraging kind of like an open communication, platform of soliciting feedback. What do you think about that design or asking questions, maintaining that curiosity or even triggering that curiosity in just like, instead of telling, maybe more asking, what do you think of that design? Or what do you think we could have done differently here? Or what do you think made this go so well? It doesn't, questions don't have to come from a negative point
I
of view.
like that a lot. The curiosity word too, because I think in general, not just working in STEM and corporate or just in general in life, the more curious we can be as a people, the less judgmental or the less harmful,
absolutely,
we show up. So I really like that. I think that's helpful.
Just open up a conversation to some extent,
And on that point, one of the things I was going to mention, when I do these reviews, sometimes I tend to have lots of comments.
Okay. So you're the red pen that's just...
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, y'all. When I was in industry and I would get my comments back, I'm like, I'm trying to get signatures. Okay, but okay, I'm going to work on them.
Try not to do it because I'm not the subject matter expert.
Sure.
And sometimes asking the questions rather than, this is wrong, but being like, what do you think about this? Or should we be changing this to this? Some comments are like, no, this has to change.
Right.
But a couple of other things, I'm flexible. I like to not just like, here are the comments, you take them and like follow what I wrote. It's like, let's sit down and look at it together. And whenever there's a possibility, I try to do that. And I forget what the original question was.
Yeah, just like how to build those soft skills in industry. Because I think that sometimes, and I think part of it, you're giving great examples. Because even in that was a very specific example of like you being in your role as a stress engineer, working with design engineers, and how you're approaching those comments, which is an actual task in your job. So I actually love that example because it's very practical, right? Of like, because sometimes it's like these lofty things that can be said, just have a conversation or whatever. So I feel like that's really good. But I that was just the curiosity, is because I think people struggle with that.
I have one more thing that has helped me. It's getting to know people a little bit personal. Like, it also helps
foster that connection.
Yeah. Getting to know if they have kids, if they're married or engaged or dating, I don't know, just a little bit more personal hobbies, interests, and
I can agree with that.
And you never know when that may come into clutch.
Yeah, it may come. Yeah. I tell you all the time, the engineers in my group, they'd be like, so back to the signatures. Okay, so after I made all my corrections and stuff, and sometimes I'd be like coming up against the deadline, I'm like, I need signatures quickly. We had someone in Russia, we had to like just different places where you had to, and they're like, how are you getting her to respond so quickly? I'm like, we kiki. I don't think I was using that word at the time, but we kiki on the phone all the time. I will call her and we will, just have a great conversation. And so you build that relationship, and it's like, wow, Roy always gets his signatures really quickly after he's done with all his corrections. I'm like, yeah, because I know these people. I know something about their life. And then who knows? There may be something that you both are interested in, so there's something that you can connect on in that way. So I think those are helpful tips. I do want to, we're talking so heavily focused on work. Some of these skill sets you can get outside of work, right? In volunteer opportunities or other places where you serve. And so I want to touch on those two things for both of you all. Fernanda, you are in Women in Aviation, and I believe you just finished out your term as president. Yes. So you can just sigh of relief. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about Women in Aviation, and I believe we're doing an event together soon, so we
September
can promote that
20th.
here. Okay.
Plug.
Right here at this camera.
September 20th.
What is it called?
It's Girls in Aviation Day.
Okay.
It's actually wherever you're listening, even internationally. September 20th, it's the Girls in Aviation Day.
Okay.
Some chapters hosted on different days. So, but yeah, go check out
and where's yours is going to be?
Women in Aviation International website.
Okay.
And they list all of the events that are taking place throughout the world because it's an
Wow.
international
Come
organization.
on, global. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was
Kenya
That's awesome.
has Kenya. I think the
Wow.
Kenya chapter.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
So September
September
STEMusic
20th.
Nation,
20th.
September 20th. The one that I'm going to be at, STEMusic, we're going to be at September 20th in Georgia. And
Atlanta.
at the airport.
At the Peachtree DeKalb Airport.
Peachtree DeKalb Airport, and it's going to be a blast. There's going to be a lot of stuff for, kiddos to do.
Exciting.
And then I'll be performing here and there throughout the show. We got a whole aviation themed album that I'm working on that hopefully will be out next year. We had to push it back, it's a whole thing. I know, but it's got to be right. I'm getting a lot of stress notes.
You should come to the event.
Red lines. Thank you for the invite.
So yeah, if you're in the area, come out. It's going to be a great time. I got to go to another event hosted by Women in Aviation last year, and we had a good time. So come out, enjoy that. But a little bit more about your role as president and some of the things that you got to do in Women in Aviation.
Yeah, so in the Wheels Down South chapter in Atlanta, I took over, I think around 2021, right after COVID, and it was a steep climb.
Like a learning curve?
A learning curve, and also with the restrictions on getting together that impacted quite a bit the chapter, I feel like. So we've managed to rebuild it.
Okay.
We have, it wasn't dead. To grow the membership.
Yeah. But even in COVID, though, I mean, I was in a nonprofit organization at the time, and it was just really hard. Even we used to have all these young Black boys in Real Men, Real Heroes, which is now called Heroes Academy, and we went virtual, and we did some things. But yeah, it's definitely been a rebuilding. So I think a lot of organizations went through that.
Yeah. Like the lowest point was we had a meeting like at a brewery outside, like it was like an open space. And I show up there and like no one was arriving. I was okay, no one's here. And I see this girl that was a member of the chapter. And I was like, oh, you're here for the meeting. And she's like, what meeting? And I'm like, I'm just here because I had a terrible day after work with another coworker. So I ended up joining them. But that was like the lowest.
Wow.
And
where's it at now?
I don't know. We had 25 people. We have now like 20 to 30 people at our meetings.
Okay.
Over 200 members. Not all of them are active at the...
Sure.
But yeah, and we've been fundraising money. Yeah. I know you've helped me review some of those sponsorship options. So I'm leaving it at a great place, and I have a lot of faith in the leadership that is currently there and the incoming people. So of the skills developed through these, it's been learning to delegate, learning to trust people to do what they're going to do when they say they will.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I struggle with that too, yes.
But I don't know, the team is great.
Good. And I think the delegating thing that's a great, so, I think that's another thing with the STEMusic podcast, STEMusic Nation, you're in your corporate careers or you're in your STEM careers, but it's like, I think that's the power of doing stuff outside of work if you have the capacity. I know sometimes people, have families and other things, other responsibilities. Maybe they're a caregiver for an elderly family member, so sometimes you don't have the time. But if you do, I always encourage people try to get involved in your community or in some capacity because you can continue to grow those skills that are going to be directly related to what you need to do in your corporate career or in your STEM career. So, and delegating, yes, that can be so hard because it's like, I just want to do it all. Like, I'm still trying to figure that out on STEMusic. Like, I'm like, Roy, like, you gotta share the workload,
And props to you, like being a project manager, program manager. I feel like sometimes I could just do that real quick. But that's not your role, right? Like, you can't just be like, let me take it.
To swoop in, yeah.
To swoop in,
And I think, I could be wrong, but I feel like you're also doing some of that within your military service. And I wanted to talk about that. Last time we were on the podcast, I think you were just beginning that journey with the Army. Was it the Army?
It is the Army, yeah.
Army.
Yeah.
So the Army, which thank you for your service.
Yeah, thanks for the support.
And so I just remembered like you starting that journey, but I think within that journey, there's probably been some overlap of the skill sets from your project management to what you're doing there. So tell us a little bit more about your role, of what you can share.
Yes.
And how that kind of has related and helped.
Absolutely. So crazy to think it's been coming up on 10 years in the military. Wow. Absolutely mad. But in 2021, when we last spoke, I was getting ready to transition from going from enlisted to officer.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yes. Okay, yeah.
And so going through officer candidate school and then going for 6 months training to be an engineering officer in the Army. Those two really just like challenge your perspective on leadership and then technical capability. And what they really teach you and emphasize is how to make decisions with limited information and trust the people around you, right? So just to drive forward progress. So it's knowing maybe you won't have the answers, but this is what you have. Make the decision, or form a team around that and like push forward.
Yeah.
To some extent. So from that, then there's a lot of just like a culture of forward progress that's constantly like on my mind, and I'm just like, whatever we're discussing here, what is the outcome? Like, I need an end goal, I need a plan of progress and something like that, so I guess fortunately for me, one of the skills that I feel like I bring to the table is like, there will be forward progress.
We are moving forward. I love that. Yes.
So
yes.
I can be decent at positions that need change, or positions that need just something to move. And a lot of that has come from the military side, and how just that thought leadership and that lack of being afraid actually is what it is. It's not even like you can be scared, and that's okay. But you're not afraid of big things, or even you're not even afraid of being scared.
Or afraid of hard things.
Afraid of hard things.
Like, do it scared. Yeah, that's
you can still do it. Yeah,
wow.
And move forward
And that's a powerful thing, I think, in life in general. But like, even as I'm thinking about people who may be watching this or listening to this podcast, and they're, in a cubicle or at a, job or in the lab, and maybe they're trying to aspire to something else. But it's like, I now have to have this conversation with my manager about how do I become a level 3 engineer, or how do I become a technical fellow at my company, or how do I do this? And it's like, that's a hard conversation, but it's like, and you may be nervous, you may be scared, you may not have all the details to your point,
right? But
you're still going to try to move forward and have that conversation. And guess what? Even if the answer is like, we don't have the budget, or the company's not at the place where you can go to this next spot, you can still figure out what are the steps. What are the next steps?
What can you do?
What can you do?
Yes, yeah. And understanding the gaps in just working and, honestly, just having that conversation, bridging whatever needs to getting done so you can move forward. Yeah.
That's powerful. I love that. I love to say the word powerful on here. Like, I know STEMusic Nation, I'll be saying that a lot, but that is powerful to me because it just showcases, I think in both situations, in both areas of service, within women in aviation, within the Army, you're just gaining these, and it's kind of cool. I'm just sitting here live in this moment, like, my friends are so amazing. Like, they're so awesome. Leaders, president,
I mean, look at
officer,
where we are.
Like,
also, look at where we are.
I'm like, genuinely, like, it's so cool. And I think you all are such great examples of what a career can look like in different ways, from military service to now being a project manager after being a individual contributor, to someone who switched positions in a different way, still as an individual contributor in a sense, but it's a totally different role. And but you're still doing this incredible work outside, working with a global organization that's inspiring, young girls to get into aviation, and boys. Okay, come on, that's why I'm there, right?
Yes.
So I think that's just a magical and powerful thing that you both exude. So I love that. It's kind of crazy that we're already kind of coming towards the end of this catch up segment. And so we do got some jingles coming up that I'm going to try to do.
I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Y'all know STEMusic Nation. No, it has not changed since the beginning of this season to where we are now. I'm still like, why did we write these an hour before? But I do think I have one other thing I wanted to hear from you all before I sing those. And then we close with the songs that you all sent me. Master's degrees. So I don't know. I'm just thinking about our audience. I'm thinking about people who maybe just started in their STEM career. Maybe they're mid-career and they haven't gone back to school for a master's because they're trying to figure that out. Maybe some just started in their first year and they're like, ooh, but should I be going back right now? You, Fernanda, went to get your master's in aerospace pretty much right after undergrad. Lynette, you said a couple years.
Yeah, 4 years maybe.
Oh, you said 4 years?
4 years.
So 4 years. So I just love having this experience on the couch, on the podcast. So I would love for you to share your perspectives on that, of what advice you would give to those who may be out there weighing that, battling with that. You can start first, Fernanda.
Okay. So mine, I took a 6-month gap.
Okay.
I was doing a co-op, so I was working. But just because I graduated December and school started in August. So
okay. That's right.
6-month gap, which was great experience. I decided to just go straight out of school because I knew what I was missing. I didn't get to take some core like structures classes. I didn't take composites. I didn't take damage tolerance. So I knew I was missing a couple of classes. So I decided to go get my master's like right after. It's funny because I was seeking advice from people. One of my managers at the time said, just do it. Just go ahead and do it. And people from the Society of Women Engineers, there used to be like a Facebook blog thing, and I posted a question and got some comments, a bit of mixed opinions, but I started to just go directly because I already had like the school habits like formed,
studying and all.
And I was going
things,
to something technical that was like, okay, before I forget everything I learned, let's go straight there, and with hopes to then find a job in that exact field, which it eventually happened. But so that was my reasoning why I'm lacking all of these things.
And it was very technical
all of these
too. Yes. I think that's a great call out of like, you knew exactly the things that you were missing and that you wanted to then be able to transition into that career at some point.
And not to speak for you, but I think if you are, because I was also doing like a dual master's on engineering management, which I had to drop it. It ended up, if in order to take the co-op that led to my full-time job now,
you needed to be able.
I needed to drop because semesters didn't work out.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, what would I have known about engineering management or project management coming right out of school? I think
like
it would be more valuable now, for sure, work and then.
Yeah.
That is that's a perfect segue into tell us your perspective of that.
So we graduated in 2015. And the job that I was working at the time afforded like classes, and much like you, I took that technical route, and I think I signed up to do like a master's of industrial engineering, and took 1 or 2 classes just to learn like statistics, and I'd pick classes that resemble.
Oh, this was like right after.
Because then working in a lab environment, so I do like classes like statistical quantity analysis or a design of experiments, so that it kind of matches the technical knowledge that you're presenting at work or that you're aspiring to understand better. And then the Army came and played, a huge role in between there. So then, changed civilian jobs. And then somewhere down the line with, having experience and worked in the field and then worked in the office. And now it gets to a point where you're the project lead or you're like a lead project engineer, and then jumping into that project manager role. Just thinking through how to think ahead on projects and things like that, So the time was then, that's it. My job at the time, or how to think about what I was doing, presented the opportunity for me to pursue school. I said, actually, this is something I'd want to learn more about. So it stems maybe from the same feeling of creating that gap. But much like you've mentioned, I think with leadership experience and, some years of experience, then it's able to paint that picture better. So I got a master's of engineering in project management. And that mostly focuses on like the project management side. So you're thinking scope, schedule, budget. Whereas maybe masters of engineering management with a, masters of science in engineering management would be more how to run an engineering project. Or an engineering team.
Okay.
More execution versus more project, based on the other side. So what it felt like to me going through school, doing my master's, it felt like maybe how to say please and thank you, as but it reminds you to say, and you're just like, okay, I need to say please and thank you, something like that. That's what it feels like. It's like it didn't feel like
you
something.
Have the best way of explaining things. Oh my gosh,
like
yes.
It's solidified.
It's solidified that
like what you're already doing.
What you're already doing, that which you already know, but at the same time, you'd be able to it creates the space to sit in that thought. And think, well, am I saying my please and my thank yous, and what occasion would warrant the thank you and the please, something like that. So. It was I loved it. I just absolutely loved it. And maybe in a few years I'm thinking of an executive MBA, something like that, and just saying, okay, now that I'm getting more into finances and business orientation, how to make money, but how you calculate the profit and the labor effective multiplier of so just thinking through probably that in a few years, and I think it'll come to the point where you get gaps.
Get our MBAs together.
And I literally was like, I think for me in my journey with masters and like y'all know, and y'all talk to me during different points because you graduated with yours shortly after, and then you had yours. I'm like, I just can't give up this music thing. And I just always felt like if I was going to go after a master's degree, I just struggled with that. I was like, I know, especially when I was still working for corporate, because they were going to pay for it. Well, first of all, I want good grades in general, but like in order to get your money, to get it paid for, you have to make the grades. And so it's like, I have to focus. Like I can't you still got your full-time job.
Right.
And so I just remember thinking like that, I'm going to have to give up music. And for whatever, I didn't know when I was gonna be able to do music full time. I did not have that date. But I'm like, I look back and I'm like, I'm grateful that I didn't go for it because I just don't feel like it was the timing, like for me. And I think that's the thing that I loved about both of your answers to STEM Music Nation is really consider what's going on in your life, in your world, why you're going after it, something technical that you already knew you needed that was going to fill a gap versus needing some experience to even be managed by somebody or to see how some other people were managing projects to be like, oh, now that I'm going through this program, I'm learning how to say the pleases and thank yous, but I'm also seeing like, so-and-so did it this way and that did not work well. Or, you just kind of have a context of why you're doing it, which all that to say, I'm starting my master's literally as we're filming this in 2 days, the 18th of August.
Wait, why didn't I know this?
So, because it's I haven't told a lot of people, but I'm
tell it to everybody.
telling the world now. Yeah, but I'm starting my master's in education. And learning and instructional design is the focus. And to the point of what you said about your master's in aerospace for structures and stress, and then project management. As I've been on tour and doing things with STEM music, it's been like, hey, do you have STEM music curriculum? Hey, do you have? And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. That wasn't my, I want to sing. Like, I just want to sing, right? And so as I went to South by Southwest EDU earlier this year, and I did a workshop where I had like, oh, you do a STEM activity, then you try to build a jingle about that STEM activity, which is a perfect segue into our next segment. But I just remember the teachers, people who were in that workshop coming up after and saying, yeah, is there a curriculum to this? And when I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that was curriculum. What I was teaching them, I didn't even realize. I didn't put it together like, no, you literally gave them a thing with a QR code on it and steps to follow. And I was like, wow. And so it really just made me think long and hard about it. My sister just finished her master's in December of 2024. And so every time I went to a graduation, like since 2015, I'd always be like, should I get my master's? I always asking that question. And so I had looked at Masters of Education before, like 2020 timeframe. And it was like principal, administrative, like that type of stuff. And I was like, that doesn't make sense for me. And so when I saw that Wichita State had learning and instructional design, I was like, whoa. And then I started reading the description. So not only for STEM music stuff, but if I want to go back and do some consulting in corporate or whatever, like it has things in there too. And you can even take courses from different schools. So like the School of Music has a class, music psychology, which I'm really interested in taking because it's like, why does it work? Why does STEM music work? Like, why is it impacting children in the way that it is? Like, I know it works because I see it working, but like to scientifically explain it, and so that it's like, I feel everything that you're saying to the audience. I'm like, yeah, no, I think that really pans out correctly because that's how I feel right now. Like this is the right time. Yes. And I'm still going to be busy and crazy and all the things, but it's like, I don't have to give up music. Yes. Like, now it's my full time.
Yeah.
So
it lines up with exactly what you're doing.
So yeah, I'm going to be in masters.
We are so proud of you, Roy.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's kind of crazy. And shout out to my previous podcast guests because they definitely encouraged me like earlier this season. And I remember talking to Dr. K. Morgan and I was saying after the podcast, I think I'm going to apply. And I think, she's like, you should do it. And I can't believe I'm like starting a master's program in 2 days as we're filming this.
I can't believe you didn't tell us.
I haven't told anybody, but hello world, I'm starting a master's program. Okay, so we got to really close this thing up. So perfect to like the whole music part of things. We always got to have that on the podcast. So I came up with 2 jingles for the words that you sent me. Fernanda sent me I-beam, which I was like, girl.
That's a tough one.
And then I got measure from Lynette.
Well, to be fair, you didn't say what you're using it for.
Right. Well, I said a STEM jingle.
Yeah, that's true.
So here we go with I-beam. Now, STEM Music Nation, you already know I'll be struggling on making this an hour before the show. So we'll see if I remember how it goes. I think the beat is... And if you hear a harmony, Lynette, you can harmonize. Fernanda, I guess you too, if you want to jump in. She's like, no. Okay, let's see if I remember it. Here we go. I-beam, what does it really mean? I-beam, structural support you need. I-beam, engineers use it, you see. I-beam is strong when you're building things. The I-beam resists bending and shear forces. Great for construction. From buildings to bridges, I-beams are ideal. Yeah, their strength is true perfection. To the chorus, and I-beam, what does it really mean? I-beam, structural support you need. I-beam, engineers use it, yeah, you see. I-beam, is strong when you're building things. Woo! There's your
That's
I-beam
what's up.
song. Thank you.
Add
Now
that to the
Very well
to
done.
the album.
to add that, put that on the
Yes.
album. I'm thinking like maybe we should take all the jingles from the podcast and make it an album.
Yes.
You know,
Just give
'cause
us royalties.
there you go.
Yeah.
Go on. Well, you didn't write any of it. I guess you just gave me the word.
She's practicing
though.
her
She
executive
said-
MBA in advance.
She said royalties. You know, you got royalties on some songs. We need to check that.
I haven't seen
We need to check and see how much you made.
Check my bank account.
Okay, so the word you gave me was measure.
Measure.
And you know what I did when I first heard that? Measure your life in love. Do you know what that's from?
I do not know where this from.
She's like, that sounds horrible.
No.
It's from Rent. Sorry, it's the Music Nation. That's not. So I'm gonna go lower key. Measure your life in love. That's from this Seasons of Love is the song.
Okay.
And it's from Rent. So that's literally what was in my head. I was like, no, Roy, that you have to do something different. So I wrote a rap.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
So let's see. Look, I don't even know, but we'll see how this goes. All right,
Okay.
it's the Music Nation.
I'm
Here we
ready.
go. Today we talking measure, talking about it in STEM. Science, tech, engineering, math, you gonna use some measurement. Find the size, amount, degree with an instrument like a ruler, tape, measure, key for development. Measure. Measure. You know, you get it like
Yeah,
long and distance.
I like
okay.
it.
Okay,
I
that's
like
the
it.
rap. That's all
I
I got
love
for
it.
you.
You can count
Okay.
it. You can always count on you to deliver.
Hey, you know, I'm like, the memory on these things is crazy. I gotta start doing it earlier, asking for it earlier. I never sent the email. I'm sorry.
Still pending.
I never sent the email. STEM Music Nation, I was supposed to send them an email about the podcast, never sent it to them. But here they are, and we just had a great conversation. We're gonna close with 2 songs
Okay.
that you both gave me. So I will mention the song, and then kind of ask like what you felt about it, why you chose it. So Corazón Adentro is from you, and that's by Bomba Estero.
So it is actually by a group called Astropical, which is
Okay.
a combination. 2 bands got together, Rawayana and Bomba Estéreo.
Okay.
They were like, they did, I think, a collaboration in the past. And they were like, you know what? Let's do a full album.
Oh,
and
wow.
they joined and formed Astropical. And all of their songs are so catchy.
Yeah.
So the artist is Astropical, featuring both Bomba Estéreo and Rawayana.
Okay.
And just all the music is so catchy, so like feel good. I'm gonna see them, in like next week.
Come on,
In
that's
concert,
exciting.
so-
Yeah, I
Hopefully they
wrote
play that
like
song.
Yeah.
I wrote groovy. It feels good. Love the heart inside of me, and gratitude for like family and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and those some of the reasons why you chose that song.
It just makes me happy. It's like it builds on like how good life is, and like my heart is happy. I've got my friends. I've got my family. Parents are healthy.
Yeah,
It's just it's a feel good song.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And then for your song, "Lonely at the Top," and how do you say the artist's name?
Ashake.
Ashake.
Yes.
First of all, I love the title because like, as an entrepreneur, I was like, this song is for me.
Yeah.
It's a very chill song and it feel good. Like the music makes you feel good.
Yes.
And I was trying to pierce through some of like the lyrics. Like I have to work for me. Like I have to, like I just felt this energy of like, almost like no one's gonna do it for me. And also like people may be saying things, but I can't, it really made me think live right now in this conversation when you were saying, one thing about me is we're moving forward. Like it kind of gave me that, like as I'm thinking about it right now, it gives me that type of vibe too of like, no, we must go forward. Like, sure, we might need to take some time to reflect or, lick our wounds or whatever, but like we must go forward, even though sometimes it's lonely at the top. So, so why did you choose that song?
For that exact reason, I think there's a sense of loneliness when it comes to pursuit of your own goals and you're actually doing it, you know? It's easier to be in a crowd setting, like a little bit of complacency, a little bit of good excuses or not so good excuses as to why not to move forward. And, just like thinking through just where the three of us are sitting, we started maybe in the same group, just different career trajectories.
Yeah.
We'd always show up for each other in whatever stage of life, but oftentimes you're the only one who looks like you where you are.
Yeah.
And not that the top is ever, the sky is, there's no top, but the more, the further that you go, sometimes often there's an aspect of loneliness, particularly I think if you're succeeding. And it's not a bad thing, but I love that song because it's just like, I feel it too.
Yeah.
It's a thing that's there. It like acknowledges the presence of it.
And it's kind of like calling it out, because like to your point, you can have your friends and different things to ensure that you're not staying in that space or in that, that experience of the loneliness, but it is something that comes, when you're president of the Women in Aviation, Wheels Down chapter, when you're leading your group and the buck stops with you got to make the decisions. Me as an entrepreneur, it's like, it's on you, Roy.
Yeah.
if this sinks or if this floats, it's on you. So I think that resonated with me in it too. Yeah. So. Well, this has been an incredible conversation, a nice catch up. I think STEMusic Nation, you got to hear the updates of where they are. And like, you can go back and listen to their episodes. Like I said, Lynette is on episode 18, Fernanda's episode 20, and hear that like story to where you all are now is like, it's so cool. Even me hearing you all share what you shared on this podcast today, it's like, wow, the growth in all of us, and I'm going to get a master's. I'm still like, what? This is crazy. I still don't believe it. Lord help. Lord help.
Amazing. You're going to do great.
From my mouth to your ears, God. But I'm also excited about it. I'm excited to learn and stuff. So, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come all the way to Wichita and to sit in here in the studio to provide good advice. I feel like there's a lot of good nuggets in there for you, STEMusic Nation, to chew on, to try to follow, to ask yourself the questions, to stay curious, to build those relationships. And I just got to stick with what you said, like moving forward, like
forward progress.
You gotta take stock in like what's happening in life. And sometimes we got to chill. Sometimes we need to rest. That is important too. But in all of that, still
there is a momentum in that.
Yes, having a momentum of going forward. And just figuring out the journey ahead. So I'm excited for y'all and what's to come.
Excited for you.
Thank you for being on the STEMusic podcast.
Thank you for having us. I hope in another 5 years, maybe, we get to meet and take stock of where we are.
Yes. Woo! Yeah. And maybe we'll be on like a television show or something, almost like The View or something, but it's like for STEM people. Yes. Like that's my vision,
Or a Netflix show.
It'll come to pass.
I think it would be great. So
thank
you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.